Hello, and welcome to the Business Academy. Today's lesson will cover basics for recruiting and managing employees in business, and we'll be going in and out of the settings area to make sure our recruiting is set up the way we want. Some topics that we'll be discussing include managing job postings, application steps, candidate portal, and managing applications. With that, I'd like to start with jumping into the job postings list. We can do this by clicking Employees, followed by Candidates from the dropdown. This is a list of all of our available job postings. Here we can view, edit, add, and search for all of our job postings, and that includes active and inactive job postings. So let's start by adding a brand new job posting and see what information can be captured here. To do that, we'll go to the Add Job Posting button, and this will bring us to a blank job posting screen. Here we have a lot of information that is configurable for each job posting, but we can start off by adding a new job posting title. This is the position that candidates will be applying for. We'll input our posting title, and we can make this by invitation only. This means that we're going to invite candidates to apply, and it won't be a public job posting. If we do want to put this on something like Indeed or Glassdoor or a job board like such as those, we can uncheck by invitation only. Now we can also add a description, and we have a field that is alphanumeric, which means it's just a broad description, and we can go down multiple lines here if we'd like. There's also an advanced editor available. We can see that by clicking the advanced editor hyperlink. And here we can add a lot more formatting. We can add hyperlinks, we can add a video, and we can bullet or number as we wish, and really format this to fit our needs. If we want to go back to that simple editor, we'll just click the simple editor button, and we will be brought back to that alphanumeric field. If I wanted to add something in here, I can just put a brief description in, and that'll appear on the job posting when people apply for the position. Now the job type, we have a few options here, and those include full-time, part-time, temporary, a contract, internship, and commission. So you can choose any of these, and as you choose, they'll appear in the field. For this particular job, I'll keep it as full-time. Underneath that, we have the job category, and we have accounting and finance. We can scroll down and see a lot more information that we can input here. Our education level, we can choose from our drop down here as well to note either an associate's, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, high school, or a degree not earned. So here I'll just choose bachelor's. And if we want years of experience for this particular job posting, we can input that here as well. Now the company will be defaulted to your business company, and you can see that up here on the top left is the Business Academy. And now below that, we can add an end date for this posting. Now this means that you want this position filled by this particular date. So here I can choose the calendar function, and I can go in as far in the future as I want. But let's say we want this position to be filled fairly soon. Let's say we want it to be filled by the 1st of November. We'll put that post that it ends, and that means by this date, we want to stop advertising for this post because we wish for it to be filled by that particular date. Now, if you want to assign this to a particular recruiter, you can do that here in the Assign To field. So here we can click into the field, and we have a list of all of our employees that drop down here. And we can search for an employee that might not be appearing here, as it does go alphabetically. Here, if I just choose Anybody from the drop-down, we can assign that employee to this particular job position. Now you can assign more than one person as well, and they'll just drop down below. If you wish to remove anybody from here, you can just click the trash can, and it'll disappear from our view, but they'll still remain in the list. Now on the right side, we have the information about the job itself. So here we have what location does the job apply to. We can choose either one or all of the locations, or as many as we wish. So here, let's say this is just for our New York office. We can choose that. Our starting salary, we can input that information here as well. We can choose to show the salary on the candidate dashboard. That means that they can see this information when they're applying for the job. If we want to add a range or a minimum and maximum value, we can add range over here on the right. And this will insert a minimum value. So let's say we wanted to go from 50, and the max, let's say, is 60. So now we have a range instead of just a default number. Now we can also add other salary info here as well. So for instance, if you wanted to say that certifications are available for further education. Here we can kind of give an incentive on top of the salary for things that they might earn or learn in that position if they apply and get hired by us. Now down below that are our requirements. And this is something that you want to ask your candidates to fill out while they're applying for this particular job posting. These might be, if I want to ask if the candidate has been convicted of a crime, I can check that off, and they'll have to answer yes or no and provide more information. If I want them to skip the education, experience, and references when submitting the application, I can check this off. And you'll notice that when I check this off, the education, the experience, and the references will disappear from this checkable view as I'm choosing to skip filling that out. So now I can only have them fill out their address, their desired salary, and their resume. Now, if I do want to track their education, experience, and references, I can uncheck that box, and then I can choose from those options as well. Now, when you choose experience, you can also require them to fill out prior salary information. So that's another field that you can choose to allow as they're filling out their experience. Now, all these are optional, and you can choose them for your needs. But here I'm just going to choose all of them, and we can go through all of those steps while the candidate is applying. So now we filled out all this information for this job posting, and I'll go ahead and save. And as we save, we'll note that we're brought to the steps page. Now, if we go back to the basic info up here, we can see that screen that we're just on. So now that we've saved the job posting, we have a lot more options to really configure our job posting. And we can do that by steps. So these are steps that candidates will go through when applying. And I can add steps by choosing the Add Step button right here. And I can either choose any of these options up top, and that will change my options below. If I choose from existing steps, they'll be listed down here, and I can check them off as I need. If I want to select from an existing posting, I can actually copy what's brought over on that posting. So you'll note that if I add the steps from the content writer, I have only 4 options, whereas if I did the select from existing steps, I have some more options that are available. If I want to create a brand new step, I can choose this radio button here, and I'll be able to create a brand new step that is not only tracked in this particular job posting, but it's also added to my list of job postings in the settings at a global level. And I can also copy from existing step. So here I can choose from any step down below and copy that step into this job posting. I'm going to choose to select existing postings, and we'll just select them from down below. And then I'll choose select, and you'll see that as I press select, all of those steps are added below, and I can rearrange them as needed. So for instance, if I want to request a phone interview before they upload certificates, I can do that. And I can really configure this the way I want these steps to function. Now, if any of these steps are automatic, you'll see a step over here that says automatic. And I can go into each step and configure how this looks. So here I have the distance and salary check. We have a brief description of what that entails. I can make this visible on the candidate portal if I want. And I can also choose how this type of step functions. Do I want the candidate to upload a document? Do I want this to be a manual step, which means that my recruiters are performing this as they're going through candidate applications? Or do I want this to be an email? Do I want an email to be sent? And if I do choose to have it be an email, I can make the step automatic, which means it's automatically sent out as the previous step is completed. And if you choose the email, you can change your subject. You can upload a body as well as merge fields. Now, since this is a distance and salary check, that should probably be a manual step. Our recruiters want to verify that their address is within a certain radius of our location so that there's no conflicts with them commuting to and from. Now, if I go to the request for phone interview, we'll see how that email is set up. So here I'll just scroll down. So this is an email for a phone request interview. We can see that this step is automatic. We're going to email the candidate. And as we scroll down, we can see that those merge fields taking effect. So by adding a merge field for candidate first name, it's going to make it a little more personal. So instead of manually typing an email for every single candidate step that goes out, this merge field is going to automatically pull over that information from the candidate's application. And anything that's labeled user is the recruiter's information. So that also makes it a little more personal. It's going to take that information and automatically upload it into this particular email. And those merge fields we can see underneath here. We can add things such as an appointment date, the candidate's information, such as their first name, last name, full name, the recruiting job title, and anything user, again, is the recruiter or the internal employee's information. Now, the other thing that's available with job postings are custom fields. And we can see that by this tab over here, labeled custom fields. And if we click on that, we can view any custom fields that are added. And we can also go ahead and add new custom fields. We can do this by clicking the plus button right up here. Now a pop-up will appear in which we can name the new custom field. We can make it required. We can encrypt it, which means there's ensured security on the custom field, so only in particular people can see that information. But before we get into all that, I'd like to go into the field types and describe what type of data is captured here within the custom fields. So we have an alphanumeric field, which is any alphabet or numeric values are going to be captured here. And this is one line of data that you can enter information. Integer field is only numeric data. Decimal field is a numeric data field with a decimal point. Currency is a dollar amount. Date and time is going to have two icons. One is going to be a calendar, so you can choose a date. The other is going to be a clock, in which you can choose a time. Date and time are going to be those icons, but separated, so you can only do one depending on its field. Yes or no is going to be either a radio button or a checkbox in which the recipient can choose either yes or no. Alphanumeric multi-line field is just like the alphanumeric field, but you can enter multiple lines of data. So again, that's going to be an alphabet or numeric values are going to be entered there on multiple different lines. Attachments going to allow the recipient to upload any documents from their PC, computer, into this particular custom field. A custom list is something that you're going to create, and it's going to be a custom list of values. So to simulate this, if I choose the custom list, we can either choose a list that has already been created, or we can choose the hover plus icon and create a brand new custom list. So here, if I choose multiple different lines, I can add different values. So here, if I just have a list name, what region are you located in? Since this is a New York job posting, we can insert things like Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, and I'll just add another one, Long Island, and maybe we want White Plains area. So now I have some basic information for this custom list. So here we're going to create individual items on this list. We've named the list, and then the user will be able to select information from the list. I can have a display type for this particular list. And this includes a drop-down, a load on demand, a drop-down with checkboxes, a radio button list, checkbox list, and then we have the drop-down radio button and checklist with other. Now, if they click other, they'll be able to type in information below. So maybe we want that. Let's do a radio button list with other. We can make that required, and I'll save and close as soon as I name the type. And this is going to help our recruiters do that distance and salary check. So if they input a region that's not in that particular list, maybe they're a little too far away, and we can judge that based on the candidate's input. Now, the last type of custom field is an existing list. Now, the select value from an existing list is something that already pre-exists in business. These are things like the contacts in our system, the customers and vendors in our system, the employees in our system, and so forth. So these already exist in business, and we can choose those to select from that information. Now, since this is a candidate custom field, it's going to apply for their particular job posting. That's probably not something that we want them to see as internal information. So we can actually choose close and go back. So now I have a custom field here. It's a custom list that we've built. We can see the asterisk mark means that it's required. If I want to edit that, I can choose the pen and pad icon and edit that information here as well. So I'm just going to go back to the basic info, and I'm going to save that job posting again to save all that information. The other tab that we have in the basic info is the actions, and this will allow us to share the posting. And by sharing the posting, we can actually select what location we're going to share and get that link. And we can also duplicate the posting, and this will allow us to create a copy of the posting with all the information pre-filled out. I'm going to go ahead and close, and we'll be brought back to our job postings list. Now, if you do have any inactive job postings, you can click inactive from the status and click search, and any inactive postings will be located here. There will be a green button over here to reactivate, and by reactivating, we can go to active statuses and click search, And any deactivated job postings that were reactivated will appear here again. So now that we've added a job posting that candidates can apply for, let's go into our company settings and view our recruiting settings. This will allow us to view how our recruiting settings operate and also what candidates see when applying for a job with our company. For this, we're going to go to the Company tab and Settings from the dropdown. So over on the left is our list of settings. Now what we want to find in particular to start us off, let's go into our recruiting settings. This will go to Employees, and we have a recruiting section. Now as I click the recruiting, we're going to see a lot of options drop down below, and you'll note the arrows on the left mean that this is a parent, which means there's other information below. So if we click each, they'll expand, and these are all the settings within our recruiting. Now if I go down to the very bottom, we have the recruiting settings right here, and I'll click that to see what's available. So this is all the information in our recruiting settings. There's several different sections that include basic info, application submission info, the iframe section, and also the content on the portal. If I scroll all the way up, we can upload a terms and conditions that our candidates can fill out. And then we have some options for the candidate. So if you would like to show all the steps in the application process to the candidate on the portal, you can check that off and they'll be able to see all the steps that they have to complete in order to fulfill their application process. If you also only want to allow one active job application per candidate, you can choose this option as well, and a candidate can only apply for one job application at a time. And the final one is if you want to allow candidates to send messages to recruiters, you can check off that option as well. This will allow for candidates to message recruiters if they have any questions about the portal or if they need help in applying correctly. Now the application submission info, this will allow you to send emails when an application is submitted. These emails will go to an internal employee, and you can choose that employee from the dropdown. Now by default, this is yourself because you are viewing this particular information, but you can change this by choosing anybody from the dropdown that you see fit. Now if you don't want emails to go out when an application is submitted, you can uncheck that box and no notifications will be sent out to internal employees when an application is submitted from the candidate portal. I'm going to choose to check that off so we do receive those emails and we are getting notified properly when an application is completed. And we also have the content for application submission, and this is a brief little message on the candidate portal. So after they complete a job posting and they've applied for a position, this is just a little thank you message that appears. Now we can customize this any way we wish. Again, we do have hyperlinks. We have a video insertion. We also have bulleting and numbering and a lot more formatting that's available here as well. And if you have HTML background, you can click the HTML section and really code this to make it more customizable to fit your needs. Now the iframe code is something that you can insert to something like a job board or your website, and this actually protects the actual URL that candidates will be able to go and complete their application and sign up in the candidate portal. The content in the candidate portal is a brief message about your careers. And again, we have a lot of formatting here up top, just like we did in the thank you submission section. Now the footer will know anything that you want to show to the candidate. So here we just have something that says equal opportunity employer, but you can put anything you wish in the footer And then finally, we have the access denied message. So this means that you can deny access to a candidate from signing into the portal. And this is the message that they will receive when they're denied access. Now, once you complete all your changes, you can click the Save button, and all those things in the recruiting settings will be saved. So now that we've gone through our recruiting settings, I'd like to jump into the candidate portal and show you exactly how this looks like and how it functions for your candidates that are applying for a job with you. To do this, I'm going to copy the iframe code. I'm going to open a new tab and we'll paste that into the URL. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete the iframe itself. So I'm going to make sure that the HTTPS is visible. So anything before and after that actual URL. So you'll note that I'm deleting from the quotations to the right to make sure that link is clean, and I'll just click enter. And now we're in the candidate portal. So here we have our list of available jobs. We can see the locations in which these jobs are available. Now here's that one that we just created, and it's in New York, New York. It's displaying exactly like we want. And I can choose that particular job posting. And you'll see that our salary range is here, as well as the salary information that we inserted. So we can see the salary is 50 to 60,000, and we also see that certifications are available for further education. And down below is the job description as well. So all that's displaying correctly as we would like. And if we want to apply, we'll just click the Apply Now button. And here we can sign up in the portal. So this is the candidate creating their login for the candidate portal in which they can complete their application. So here I'll just insert my name, which includes my first name, last name, email, phone, and then I'll just create a password. So first name, great, Daniel, and Daniel Peters. I'll create an email. Phone number. And we'll just have a password here. Now, if they enter something that does not match the other password, they'll have a red box here. If they choose to sign up now, it'll tell them that passwords must match. So that's just a little troubleshoot in case a candidate has trouble. It'll actually warn them and tell them why there's something wrong with what they've inserted. So I'll choose sign up now. And here I can choose my time zone. I can choose from any list option that's down below. I'm going to keep it as Eastern time, and I'll click continue. So here we have our profile information. Now you'll see that we have several sections which include the education, experience, references, and then finally the apply section. Now because this is a logic-based candidate portal, we can't go any further than the profile because we haven't completed this particular step yet. You'll see that even the profile, because it's incomplete, is transparent, so we can see that line going through it in the background. So here's all the information I just inserted. I have my first name, last name, time zone, email address, phone number. And now all I have to do is insert my address. So where I can choose anything that I wish to find that particular address. I can click search to try and find that. Now let me remove that. Let's go through that again. So I have a lookup address. So I've chosen to look this up in Google. I've inserted 200 Broadway, and I'm going to click search. So clicking search will allow Google to search for anything that matches that criteria. So here you can see it found 200 Broadway, Hastings on Hudson, New York, with the zip code and country. And I can choose that to actually choose that address that Google has mapped. If I want to edit that address, I can click edit, and here I can enter any information. Because Google has already matched it, the state and country will be locked, but you can change the city or the zip code or enter a street address 2, 3, or edit address 1. If you want to go back, we can click the back button, and you'll see that address located here as well. So now that I've uploaded all that information, I can click next. If a candidate does want to upload their picture, they can choose the upload picture and select from anything from their PC to upload as well. So now I'll click next, and here we can start filling out our education information. So here I have the name of a school that Daniel has attended, and this is a search field as well. So if I insert any information, it'll actually map that within Google as well. So here, let's just say NYU. We'll click search, and now it's mapping New York University. And I can choose that to upload. School type, let's do college. Completed 4 years. Let's say I just graduated in August. Major, accounting. Let's choose a degree as bachelor's. So now we have education. We're going to click save. And now I have one piece of education listed below. I can edit by choosing the pen and pad icon. I can deactivate or delete that list of education by choosing the trash can. And I can also add more education by choosing the add education to add another listing. So now you'll notice that the profile is now no longer transparent. You can't see through to see that line in between, whereas you can with the references and the experience. The education is the step that we're on right now. If I go back to profile, I can view that information. And I can also go forward to education because I have completed that step, whereas experience, references, and apply still have that cancel signal. So now if I click next after I've inserted some education, I'll be on the experience tab. So here I can insert an employer name. Oh, let's search for an employer name. I'll just choose something simple, NY Accounting, and we'll see what comes up after we search. So let's say we add one. Google is not only going to pull over the address and the company name, but it's also going to pull over the phone number and website automatically. So here we can choose the job title, job description, learn the basics of accounting while interning. We can choose when we started. We can choose a reason for leaving. So I click save, and now we have an experience listed here. So now if I click next again, we'll be brought to the references. So you can see we're building up towards the apply. So here I can list a reference. We can add the company name and the position. And again, that phone number is brought over automatically. We can click save to save that reference. So now I'll click apply again or next. and we'll get to that final apply screen. So now I have my resume. So this will allow me to upload anything from our PC for our resume. And I can upload my resume here. And then I can choose my application info. So this is something like, when can you start? So here I can choose, maybe I need 2 weeks notice, 1019. Desired salary, we know that the range is from 50 to 60. Let's say 55. And then we can choose how we heard about this particular position. So here we can choose Google, a recruiter contacted me, job board, Monster, Indeed. Here I'll just choose Indeed. And then we'll be able to know whether we applied for a position with this company before. I'll leave that as no. Then I can insert my social security number. Total number of jobs in the past 4 years, I'll just leave as 1. And now we have that additional info. And remember, this is the custom field that we added for the particular job posting. So here we have what region are you located in, and they can choose the region below. Now again, if they choose other, they can go down and specify what location they're located in that is not listed up here. If they just choose any of these in particular information, it'll just list them as appropriated. Now remember, on the job posting, we wanted to ask them if they've been convicted of a crime, and that location is located down here. And here are our terms and conditions that we added as well, so they can read through those and agree to the terms and conditions. So now that we have all of our information filled out for the job posting, we can go ahead and submit application. And here we'll see that thank you message that was on our recruiting settings. And we can go ahead and choose view applications, and here's what we've applied for. Now you'll note that the job title is listed here, the location, the status, and as well as the current step that they're on. So you can see that the application was submitted today. Now if they do want to send a message to a recruiter, they can choose this message bubble here. And when they choose new message, you'll note that the recruiters are pre-filled. So those are the recruiters assigned to that job posting, and they can message them with any questions because we've allowed those candidates to message from the dashboard. Now if I go back to my dashboard, we'll see our careers page listed over here, which was also in the recruiting settings, as well as the open applications listed up top and their percentage of completion. Now if I go back into business, we'll be on our recruiting settings, and if I want to view that particular application, we can do that a few different ways. One is the application queue. Now to view the application queue, we can go to the Employees tab and click Application Queue from the dropdown. Here I can click the blue arrow to see more search information, but this will actually allow me to narrow down my search results to only see particular job postings, what date ranges the application is active for, the location that it applies to, any employee that's assigned to particular job postings, and I can also choose to search by invitation only, as well as the candidate name. Now if I just click search with all those open, I can see all of my open applications within the application queue. And right up top, because this is the most recent one, we'll see Daniel Peters. See this, all his information. And now we'll see his activity is the distance and salary check. So now if I view that, I can see the description of that particular job step. And if I want to view his application to make sure that he's located in an area that is fit for an easy commute, I can click into his name, and this will bring me to his application. So now I can see all the information that he submitted on the portal. So I'll see his name, his location. I'll see his phone number and email, his contact information. His applications are located here, and we'll see that it's in progress. His desired salary and his work date is entered here as well. And down below, we'll see his education, experience, and references. And we can view that information separately by choosing the Education tab, the Experience tab, and the References tab. If we choose Applications, I can actually view the application itself to view a lot more information. So here's that custom field. What region are you located in? We can see he entered Manhattan, and this will allow us to make it easier to process that distance and salary check. Now, because this particular location is in New York, New York, we can verify that they are close enough to commute. We can go back to the dashboard. If I want to go back to the application queue, I can choose the Employee tab and choose Application Queue. Now, because we verified that he is close enough for an easy commute and that we can rely on him to get to work on time and that the commute's not going to be too bad for him, we can go ahead and complete this step. Now, by choosing complete, it's going to process the next step automatically. So I'll choose complete, and it'll ask us if we want to complete or not. If we choose cancel, it's going to not complete the step and we'll be brought back to this screen. If we choose OK, it's going to process that. So here we have phone interview. Now, because the request for phone interview is automatic, it was automatically sent out in the form of an email. We'll see that last activity as a request for phone interview, and it was sent out almost immediately at the time that we completed the distance and salary check. Now, if we want to enter any notes for this particular application, we can choose the follow-up. We'll see the not entered hyperlink. And if I choose that, I can enter when I want to follow up with this candidate. And when I click Save, you'll note the follow-up date is entered here. And the last contact date is located right here. And this is actually a notes log. So here we can see that the system generated a note automatically because the request for phone interview was processed at a particular point in time. So we'll see that it was entered by the system on 10/3/2018 at 10:51 a.m. Now, if we want to enter a note as a recruiter, we can do that in the notes field. So Daniel emailed back and chose today at 11 a.m. I will hold a phone interview then. Now, if I click add, we'll note that it's audited and I can see my name here along with the date and time. And this tracks progress of the actual application and what's been going on. Now, if I move this, we'll see the last contact date was 10:51 a.m. today. But if I choose close, we'll see that it's automatically updated to 10:53 because that's the last time a note was entered for this application. So the last contact date will not only keep track of notes and progress, but also change and update as you're contacting the candidate. So now I can either skip this step, I can message the candidate by choosing the message bubbles. If I choose new message, that candidate as well as the other recruiter will also be chosen automatically. And I can choose to include existing documents. So this is the resume they submitted on the portal, as well as their application. And I can choose to upload those and include them on this message. If you do message the candidate, I received your message. I look forward to speaking with you. if I choose send message, it'll not only be tracked in business, but it'll also be tracked within the candidate's inbox and the candidate portal. So I have the candidate portal still opened over here in this tab. So if I jump over, I'll just close this message. If we jump over, I'll refresh this screen and we can see a number 1 in the message bubble. So if I click that, I can see that message from me, and it has the message located here, and they can easily reply by choosing the reply bubble, and they can also archive that message as well. Now if they reply, they can reply with any information here. And I'll just issue a reply. We'll see the reply, and we can also see that in business with the application queue. I'll refresh the screen. And if I click that message bubble again, we'll see the reply in our business system. So communication between the candidate portal and our internal system is seamless. It happens in real time, and each party can see the messages as they occur and reply and forward as needed. Now let's assume that we had our phone interview and we can complete that step. To do that, we'll click the complete button and we'll click OK. And now we're in the upload certificates. So this will allow Daniel to upload certificates within the portal, and then we can also view those attachments with the view button. So here we can see that we want him to upload a copy of his birth certificate, his driver's license, and college degree. And if they send this via email, we can also choose to upload as needed as well from our end. So now that we've discussed the application queue a little bit, I'd like to go into the next area in which you can process applications, and that's called the recruiting dashboard. And we can find that underneath the Employees tab. So if I click Employees, underneath Recruiting, we have the dashboard. So if I click that, we'll be brought into the application, and we can see all the open applications over here, and they're separated out by job title. So here we have 1 for accountant, 1 for administration associate, 2 for client coordinator, and so forth. Now the to-dos are what steps each candidate is on. So we can see that nobody is on the application submitted step. We have 3 that are on the distance and salary check step, 4 that are on the upload certificate step, 2 that are on the on-site interview, and none have completed all the steps yet. So this will allow us to see who's on what step, how many open applications there are per job posting. And if I click into any of these, for instance, if I click into the accountant, we can see that application as well as the candidate's information and what step they're on. I can also do that by clicking the actual step. So if I click distance and salary check, we can see all the candidates that are on the distance and salary check step and all the information for those job postings. So this will have a daily to-do to check into these applications and see what's been going on with our candidates in the application process. Now, if I jump back into the candidate portal, I can go back to Daniel's dashboard. We can go into the accountant, and we can see the steps noted here. So we can see that I've completed the application. I've been cleared for the distance and salary check. We've done the phone interview, and now we have the pen. We have the pencil icon to note that we're on the upload certificate. And here are all the things that I need to upload within the portal. And I can do that quite easily, again, by clicking the select, and I can choose anything from my PC to upload as I see fit. So here I can upload anything that I need here. And as we upload, we'll see the green, which means that it's an OK format to be uploaded. We can remove that as well. So if we choose to remove, we can click select again, and we'll be able to upload again. So now I have my 3 that are attached, and I can choose upload to upload all those documents. So now I have a section that says thank you for uploading your required documents. Now just because I've uploaded them does not mean that the step is complete. We'll need to go into our system again. We'll note that we still have 4 of the uploaded certificates, and if I click into that, underneath Daniel Peters, we'll see 3. If I click in the view, I can see all this information. I can view each and every single one to ensure that the information is correct. So here's that image. And if I click close, I can either choose to message the candidate. Possibly there's an error with something that they uploaded. I can skip the step, or I can complete the step. Now here I'll choose complete. And because we just completed that step for Daniel, as he did upload those documents as we requested, he's removed from the step within our recruiting dashboard. And if I refresh the recruiting dashboard, now we have 1 for send email requesting on-site interview, and this is Daniel. So if I click into that one, we'll see Daniel Peters here as well. So we're moving this application along as he's completing steps for us, and we can insert a note. Daniel uploaded documents. Everything looks good. Had a nice phone interview as well. So I'll just click add, and we can add that note. And again, that's going to be audited so we can see who entered it and when, and keep track of the progress. Now again, as I click close, that date is going to automatically change because we've added a new note within that last contact information. So this is a send email requesting an on-site interview, and I can go ahead and send the email. Now, Daniel is automatically going to be added as a recipient for this email. My subject is located here, but I can adjust that. And here are all my merge fields that are pulling over that information as we saw in the recruiting steps. So we have the merge field that's pulling over Daniel's information and also my information, so that there's very little manual editing that needs to be done here. So here, if I see that everything's okay, I can go ahead and send and close, and Daniel will be, again, removed from this step as that has been completed. Now we see 3 people on the on-site interview, and there's Daniel. Now let's assume finally we've had our on-site interview, everything went really well, and we want to hire Daniel Peters. What we'll do is we'll click complete to complete that final step. We'll close out that step, we'll refresh the recruiting dashboard, and we'll see that 1 has completed all steps. Now if we want to hire Daniel, we'll see that manila folder with the checkbox, meaning that all steps have been completed. We'll see that in the activity. The last activity was the on-site interview. We can close the application. And if we want, we can go into that application for Daniel. Under application actions, we can choose close application, and we'll choose OK. And this will allow us to mark a result. So here I can choose whether they're on hold, not hired, or hired. Now because I'm choosing to hire Daniel Peters, I'll choose hired and save and close. And this will actually close out the application. So if we go back to the dashboard, we'll see accountant closed, result hired. Now, if we hire Daniel, we can send him a message noting that he's been hired. And what we can also do is go to the breadcrumbs or the 3 dots over here and choose Create Employee. Now, when I choose to create employee, it's going to bring over all of Daniel Peters' information from his application. So it's going to bring over his phone number, his email address, his home address, as well as the user role, which we can adjust to grant him access to anything which we see fit. And then we can note when he's going to start. We can give him a manager. We'll set his location to New York, New York. His job title. His division we can choose, as well as his job type. Once we've noted all the information for Daniel has been completed, we can choose Save. And now he is an internal employee within our business system with accounting access. Now, as soon as we create Daniel as an employee, he'll get a welcome email in which he can sign in to our business system and start his work. Now, the link to, we'll see here up top, and this is actually a link to his candidate information. So if we choose Daniel Peters, we can see the previous application that he submitted along with his references, education, and experience. And here's that application. Now, if we want to deny him access to the portal, for the candidate portal, we can choose Deny Access to Portal, and we'll choose OK. Because he has been hired for our business system, we can deny access. And after we've denied, if we do want to allow access again, we can choose to allow access. So that's a look at how to configure your job postings and a little look at the application process in terms of what the candidate sees in their portal and dashboard, and also how we can process applications using both the application queue and the recruiting dashboard, and how to create a new employee from a completed application. So I hope you learned a lot of useful information that you can use within your business system. I'd like to open this time for any questions. If you don't have any questions, please feel free to leave our Business Academy session. And again, thank you for not only registering, but also attending our Business Academy webinar. And we hope to see you next time.